Welcome to Masked Matches of May. If you are unaware, this is a thing I have done for the last 2 years. In 2017, I did highlights of various masked careers in Lucha and abroad. Then in 2018, I did a match recommendation / review a day. Both 2017 and 2018 were just written, and I'll link to them in the description for this video. In 2019, I'll be doing a daily match recommendation review on video, or audio, but I will be uploading all these to YouTube. You can participate by commentating on this video and anywhere it's posted. I'd love to hear what others have to say about all of these matches. If you join my Patreon at the $10 level, I'll even let you suggest a match as long as it's easy to watch online, free, and of course includes a masked talent, because it is Masked Matches of May. If you pay $5 on my Patreon, you'll get access to match commentaries, of which there will be one for every match I do this month. These are commentary tracks that you can listen to with the match, hear my thoughts on it, watch along live with me basically. This may be added to the start of all videos, so I'll give a timestamp so that you can skip over this patch talking about the Patreon. This is May 10th, 2019. Today's highlighted match is the 1990 One Falls Trios titles match between Los Brazos taking on challengers Kendo Gran Hamada and Yoshihiro Asai for the UWA Trios Championships. Taped on November 14th for All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, we covered Yoshihiro Asai yesterday, better known as Ultimo Dragon, so this won't cover him as in depth as he was only one of 2 people in yesterday's match and was well covered there. First we have Los Brazos. Making their debut in 1975, Brazo de Plata and Brazo de Oro started as a tag team, Brazo in Spanish meaning arm, thus their names being Arm of Gold and Arm of Silver, or simply Golden Arm and Silver Arm, this being reflected in their attires. In 1980, their brother would join them under the name El Brazo, and this was the main trios for Los Brazos. There were, however, 6 Brazo brothers in total, the other 3 going by Brazo Cibernetico, Brazo de Platino, and Super Brazo, all sons of Sandito Cruz, who was a wrestler as well but gained more notoriety as a trainer. The main 3 were very important to the 1980s trios boom. The 1970s lucha scene was in love with tag teams, with Oro and Brazo being a part of the tail end of that trend as well, holding the NWA America's Tag Team Championship and NWA World Tag Team Championships, the Los Angeles version, in NWA Hollywood, much like Chavo Sr. and various other lucha talents who worked California in that era. The 1980s trios boom was fueled by Villanos and Hermanos Dinamitas, who were also brother teams, and of course Los Infernals. Los Brazos, unlike many of those other trios, didn't really have a standout single star or much singles accolades at all outside of Lucha de Apuestas matches. They wrestled their masks here despite the fact that they had actually lost their mask in 1988 to Los Villanos. Perhaps the most important trios mask vs. mask match of all time, and could be the most important team Lucha de Apuestas match of all time, a culmination of their 1980s feud, Villanos of course being the sons of Ray Mendoza, who was one of the men responsible for UWA and being an important figure in the company and Lucha Libre in general. Brazo de Oro would become head of CMLL's wrestler union in the 1990s and become a booker for the company. He'd work matches regularly until 2006. He would also do matches for Torreon, Mexico from time to time as well. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago in April of 2017. El Brazo had already passed away in 2013. Unlike Brazo de Oro, El Brazo didn't stick around in CMLL. He would work for them until 1996. Then in 1997, he would work for Promo Azteca, the promotion that Conan launched and ran for a few years. Then post-2000, he would show up in AAA for the rest of his life, working a handful of matches a year for them, as well as some indie matches here and there. Brazo de Plata is still with us. He had been working with CMLL up to as recently as 2016. From what has been said in recent interviews, Brazo de Plata would like to wrestle still, but his health won't allow it. I'd love to see him have a farewell match, but it's uncertain that will ever happen. He did get his hair shaved recently when his nephew, La Mascara, son of Brazo de Oro, beat Brazo de Plata's son, Maximo Sexy, in a Lucha de Apuestas match for the second's hair. Had Maximo Sexy won, Goya Kong would have had her head shaved, Goya being daughter to Brazo de Plata as well. This is from the February 1st, 2019 AAA show. Los Brazos as a trio, the original 3, would have their last match in CMLL in 1996, sadly never getting the proper send-off that their fans would have liked. On the Technico side, we have Kendo, not to be confused with a half a dozen or so other guys who have used Kendo as a name. This one was born in the Dominican Republic. He made his way to UWA in the early 1980s. August 1st, 1984, he adopted the martial arts gimmick Kendo, which was along the lines of Los Fantasticos, Kato Kung Lee, Kung Fu, and Blackman, who also all had martial arts gimmicks as well in UWA. He continued to work mostly for UWA until 1993 when Michinoku Pro started. He was one of the names brought in for the next few years and worked for them. Then in the late 1990s, he was regularly featured in CMLL. Most of the 2000s, he has been a special attraction talent, most recently working the same 2019 Stardom show that also brought in El Hijo del Santo. Yoshihiro Asai we covered yesterday. In 1991, he was given the Ultimo Dragon gimmick by CMLL and would have a great decade in the 1990s, being a big star. He worked in the early 2000s in WWE as well. In 1997, he launched a gym where he trained talents who'd graduate and make a promotion, Toryumon Mexico, which then led to Toryumon Japan. He pulled from Toryumon Japan, and that became Dragon Gate. Gran Hamada is a Japanese wrestler who worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, debuting in 1972, and one of the first trainees of that company. Because of his size, he was called Little Hamada. New Japan Pro Wrestling then sent him to UWA in Mexico in the late 70s, where he was quickly beloved by the Mexican fans, even called Gran Hamada or Great Hamada, which is a name he used for most of the rest of his career. In the 1980s, he would work for New Japan Pro Wrestling, UWA, EMLL, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and UWF in Japan. In the 1990s, after Michinoku Pro was launched, Gran Hamada worked there and relished in the Lucha-style promotion. He has had over 20 titles to his name, mostly branded WWF, NWA, UWA. At the age of 68 years old, Gran Hamada is still beloved in Mexico and Japan, showing up to wrestle every once in a while, last showing up for a trios match in Michinoku Pro in 2018. Last time he wrestled in Mexico seems to be the 2014 indie show for Mexico City Lucha Expo. I should also mention that this happened in AJW, All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, which is a women's promotion. They held matches like this on their card once in a while. For instance, Super Delphin had a match in 1994 and two in 1997 for AJW that similarly are the only male matches on the card. Joshi promotions respecting Lucha Libre aplenty, as you'll notice them also having a Lucha show and stars show up, just like AJW. Like Dr. Wagner Jr. and Son showing up in Stardom last year, or Kendo and Hijo del Santo both being brought in this year for a big Lucha Stardom show. With the bios out of the way, how was the match? Another good match. I actually assumed this was just before Brazos lost their mask when I was watching it. People may not realize, but there is no mask cops. Oftentimes, talents will wrestle with a mask again. Normally it's for an anniversary show or whatever. They likely wear a mask here because AJW may have asked them to wear masks. Masks obviously being a big thing that people assume with Lucha, or perhaps the Brazos were hoping to move some masks. There is a big everyone dive spot, which I like to see. It seems like Brazo matches often have this happen, and I want to act cool and above it all. But Brazo de Plata doing a Topa Suicida always excites me. It's also cool to see Yoshihiro Asai do an Asai moonsault before he became Ultimo Dragon, which is a small slice of his career, which only seems smaller every year he continues to compete. Gran Hamada here, too, did a great job. Every time I've seen Gran Hamada, I'm impressed. His story, too, is a great one of overcoming the odds and showing that anyone big or small can become a star. He and Ultimo Dragon, Yoshihiro, are the biggest single stars in this match too, Los Brazos mostly being a team outside of Brazo de Plata's 1993 CMLL Heavyweight Championship reign, which was famously a bad period for CMLL because of AAA taking off and being a big success early on. I hope CMLL does an homage to two legends for Brazos, or maybe specifically just for Brazo de Plata. It's a shame that one of the trios that changed the Lucha Libre landscape forever never got a proper send-off. It makes me wonder if there was drama between El Brazo and Brazo de Oro, or if it was just brothers taking different paths. This was a fun trios match and a decent showing of what all six guys could do. Is this the best match on the card? I didn't watch the whole card, but once I'm done, I'll likely sit down and watch the main event, which was a cage match for the WWWA Championship between Bull Nanako and Asia Kong. So no, this trios match probably wasn't the best match on the card, but it wasn't meant to be either. It may be some of the best tape of Los Brazos masks though, since 1980's Lucha tape, regardless of promotion, can be rough, and Brazos lost their mask in 1988. There is a post-match and pre-match promo for them as well, so highly recommend this match, and it comes on a video with over an hour of great Joshi to check out as well. That's all for today's match review. This is Lost in Lucha, signing out.